He actually had to refresh his memory. But
I just finished watching it for my second time. The first half.
Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, Part 1. Now, before I say anything else, this is probably the only Part 1 and 2 of something that actually felt
needed,
justified. Yeah, I mean, considering these movies,
it didn't feel like it was just for money.
Considering these movies are so short, they're only over
like an hour and 20 minutes ish. This one actually timed it. It was an hour and 13 minutes. The first half.
Yeah, so...
And I didn't watch the credits, so...
So even though you could argue, well, why not just release it as one movie?
Well, whatever. So in this one, this takes place about 10 years after Batman retires in this timeline. And Bruce Wayne is actually getting fed up with all the crime that's been appearing in the city throughout those 10 years.
He doesn't know what to do with himself.
Yes.
He was forced into retirement by President Ronald Reagan.
Yeah. Specifically, the people he's annoyed with are the mutants, a new gang that just kind of lashes out randomly at the citizens of Gotham, led by someone. Who's the leader's name?
Doesn't have a name.
Wow.
But yeah, Batman is fed up with all the gang violence going on, and
Harvey Dent comes back with a new face. That's kind of a subplot.
Yeah, so Bruce Wayne is fed up with this, and eventually he decides to don the cape and cowl again for one last run to achieve, quote-unquote, a good death. So, yeah, right away you can tell where Dark Knight Rises kind of stole from this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Again, I like Dark Knight Rises, but it definitely took inspiration from Dark Knight Returns.
It almost feels like Dark Knight Returns was a sequel to Dark Knight Rises. A little bit.
Well, unlike Batman Year One, which is another Frank Miller story that they adapted into a movie, I actually have read Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, the comic book, the graphic novel.
I have not, so
and this,
I don't read graphic novels. I read manga.
Well, this is going to make me out as a bit of a heretic, especially among fans of the genre. But I actually think the movie improves on the comic book.
I think a visual, like a motion picture, can improve anything.
Well, I'm talking about.
There's a reason they make TV shows and movies about these things.
Well, I'm talking about in terms of structure. I mean, there were several points in the graphic novel where I felt that it was completely unfocused, and it kind of jumped around a little too much. It doesn't really make it. It does make it linear, but it doesn't lose any of the depth and any of the widespread subplots of the novel. I mean, you still have the press playing a big part in this movie.
Yeah, I think about at least 5 to 10 minutes of the actual film time is actually just TV programs on, like, in that world.
Yeah.
So, first thing we'll talk about, I guess, the characters. Is that how we do this?
Well, I talk about the voice acting. Peter Weller is Batman.
Really? That's who it is? I really like this Batman. It's probably my favorite second or third favorite rendition of an animated Batman, like ever. Because this is just the Batman that doesn't take any shit.
Well, also, in addition to really capturing the raw brutality and lack of patience of an older Batman, I think Peter Weller, just in his speech pattern, really
intimidates you.
Well, not only that, but it seems like every single sentence out of his mouth is very precise. I mean,
there's always a reason to it.
Well, no, I mean he enunciates a lot more than someone like, I don't know, Bruce Greenwood or something like that. And I think that's actually suitable for, I mean, someone who,
like, he gives this feeling of experience that he knows what he's doing, and he has been doing this basically throughout his entire life. He's been leading up to this.
Someone like Batman and someone who has this type of experience, I think would logically get a little bit more precise in his speech pattern as he got older. So, I really like Peter Weller as Batman. He's definitely in my top 5 of Batman voices.
He's in my top 3, definitely.
Um,
Now we're talking about there's a new Robin in this film.
Carrie Kelly.
Yep. She's okay.
Oh, I really like her.
She does the stuff. She's not like
She's my second favorite Robin ever.
next to like
Dick Grayson, because she just brings such a likable energy to this movie. This is a character who could have easily just been so annoying, like, oh god, they're bringing a kid in.
She
really?
would have been the comic relief if the story wasn't as serious.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't come in and do her little shtick and
leave
and be like, hey, audience, I'm the comic relief, laugh at my bad joke. No, she's actually useful. You can actually
I'll just say that in the spoiler section.
You can actually believe that she would look up to someone like Batman.
Especially after he saves her from the mutants.
And she saves him.
Well, spoilers.
Well, regardless, Ariel Winter does a really good job as Carrie Kelly. I can't imagine anyone else voicing the character.
Yeah, I think the voice fit her. I think at least the voice and design fit her character very, very well.
Now, I've never actually seen Ariel Winter in anything because
I've never heard of her.
Why would I? I've never seen an episode of Modern Family in my life.
Anyway, next I guess would be Commissioner Gordon, or would it be? Yeah, let's
David Selby is Commissioner Gordon. I like him.
I like him too. I think he just gives that kind of like casual. He's like a casual version of an old.
He's kind of,
you know,
he's kind of like a weathered old war hero who has seen some stuff but is still able to hold on to his humanity and his welcoming nature.
He even talked about Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, I mean, David Selby, he kind of reminds me of Bob Hastings in Batman the Animated Series.
I don't know who that is.
He played Gordon in Batman the Animated Series. Except
they have very similar designs. This one just looked a little bit more old.
And they actually have pretty similar voices, except David Selby, I think, suits the type of darker story that they were going for here. So David Selby's really good as Commissioner Gordon. Wade Williams as Harvey Dent. He's all right.
I didn't like him. I really, really loved Batman the Animated Series as Harvey Dent.
What, the one where he was talking like this?
That was the coolest voice ever, and I can't replicate it. Next, the Joker has one line.
Well,
in this part.
Well, there's not really any point in doing that. Let's talk about the story. Well, the big issue I have with Part 1, for the most part, Part 1 does not drag in the slightest, unlike a lot of other Part 1s like Twilight and Harry Potter. But here's the thing. The one thing that I thought was completely unnecessary was the character of Harvey Dent.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, Harvey Dent was just so worthless.
I personally think you could cut from after he saves Carrie to the end of the Harvey Dent arc. You could cut that entire part.
Basically.
And then just put part 2 on the end. So, that was unnecessary, but it did...
It didn't really benefit the overall story in this one, because the overall story for this was...
It felt more like a mini-series ending.
Well, no, it felt more like a mini-plot inside of a...
bigger plot.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like an episode of a mini-series.
Yeah, but, okay, here's the thing. I really like Harvey Dent's, like, character in this one. I don't like his voice, though.
How he's unable to let go of the Two-Face.
Yeah, because there's this one really powerful shot to me where you just see him, and he's like...
He's fine.
He's fine, and he's just like... You can stop trying to fool everyone. And then it just and then a lightning flashes, and you see like the monster part of him on both sides, and then it like cuts back to the real Harvey.
It's one of the things you can really get away with in animation. One of the stylistic choices.
Yeah. I love that shot. That is just amazing.
Although again, the main plot of this is Batman coming to terms with returning to crime fighting and trying to get past his own physical limitations and trying to get back in the swing of things. Harvey Dent does not benefit that at all. The mutant leader does.
here's the thing. It benefits him because it's kind of like you saw what he had to do for like when he got to Harvey Dent. He had to fight. He had to think. He had to think on his feet. He had to fight a whole bunch of young criminals.
Well, yeah, but did it really have to be Harvey Dent? You could have just inserted generic gang leader there, and it would have essentially
I guess
functioned the same way.
Yeah.
So aside from that, this is one part one that actually can function as its own movie. I mean, sure, it has a cliffhanger, but
well, it leads directly into part 2.
Yeah. But here's the thing. It's fairly self-contained in that
you could leave this as its own movie.
Yeah.
If you take out the cliffhanger.
Yeah, I mean, you won't really be too lost. You will be interested in the very bleak, very dark atmosphere that this has going for it.
Think of it as...
It's a very different Batman to what you've seen before, at least in animation.
Think of it as Dark Knight Rises when the city is, like, in hell. That's kind of how Gotham is in this one, except with more civilians.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a faithful adaptation of Miller's work, then
this probably isn't it.
No, it is. Yeah, it is.
But you said they change stuff.
They don't change. No, they don't. They basically keep most, if not all, of the contents of the book, but they organize it better in the movie.
Oh, so you're saying the other one was told in not chronological order?
It was told in chronological order, but I think it was just done in a very unfocused, kind of ham-handed way.
Okay.
Again, Heretic, I know.
Whatever. Okay, let's get past that. What else?
The animation.
Good God, that's awesome. That last fight scene with the gang leader.
Everything flowed so smoothly. I mean, when Batman is punching guys.
Everything looked very crisp and very precise.
And
it wasn't like Apocalypse, where everybody was flying every which way, just getting the shit kicked out of them. They were actually using real anatomical, is that the word? Like, real scientific facts to beat their opponent. Like, Batman punches a guy, like, right here in, like, their nerve deltoid.
Yeah, he hits
to make the arm
pressure points.
Yeah.
But even the scenes where there is no action, you have. I mean, even the scene where Bruce Wayne is just walking and it's showing Gotham in this very deteriorated state. I mean, this is a very atmospheric movie.
I think if you just showed when Two-Face blew up the building, if you just showed like an overhead shot of the city in chaos with the building on fire, I think it would have been really powerful.
Well, regardless, this is a very accomplished movie. It's a very good Batman movie.
It's a very good movie in general. It would probably be in my top 20.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
This is actually my favorite DC movie ever.
Well, you haven't seen all of them like I have.
Well, from what I've seen.